What's your most bittersweet childhood memory? It was the second week of December. I was 12, and we were living in this tiny apartment over the laundromat on Jefferson Street. I woke up to the smell of cinnamon rolls, which was already weird because my mom worked the breakfast shift at the diner every Saturday. She never made breakfast at home. By the time she got back, the kitchen would be closed up and she'd be too tired to cook. I went into the kitchen and my older brother Evan was at the stove wearing mom's old hoodie. He slid a plate toward me and said, "We're going out." I laughed because Evan didn't do outings. He was 19 and spent most days in his room playing guitar or disappearing with friends. But he told me to get dressed, warm clothes, no questions. When I asked where mom was, he just said, "Don't worry, she knows," in a voice that made me think maybe she didn't. We left before the sun was all the way up, frost crunching under our sneakers, his beat-up Civic coughing smoke from the exhaust. He had a thermos of hot chocolate and a bag of jelly beans on the passenger seat, my favorite, even though he hated them. We drove out past the strip malls and gas stations, past where the houses got farther apart. He let me roll the window down even though the air stung my face. After almost an hour, we pulled into this half-frozen lake I'd only seen in postcards. The surface glittered in the weak morning light, and there was this small wooden dock with a rowboat tied to it. He rented it for the day, paid in cash, which felt secret somehow. We rowed out until the dock was just a smudge. He handed me one of his fishing poles, something I'd always begged him to do, but he'd always said no. He baited the hook for me, patient, explaining each step. We didn't talk about school or chores. We talked about dumb stuff. If ducks ever get cold feet, what we do if the boat tipped. I caught a fish, a small silver flash, and he whooped so loud it echoed over the lake. Around noon, he pulled out 2 sandwiches wrapped in foil. Turkey and cheddar, no crust, just how I like them. He said he'd made them himself, but I could taste mom's mustard. I asked if she really knew where we were. He smiled without looking at me and said, "She will." The sun started dipping low, the air getting sharper. I thought we were heading home, but he stopped at this roadside diner with a neon coffee cup in the window. Inside smelled like bacon grease and pie. He bought me a slice of cherry pie and a milkshake. He didn't order anything for himself, just sat there watching me eat like he was trying to memorize the moment. On the drive back, he told me to promise something. If anything happened, I'd look out for mom. I laughed, told him that was his job, but his face didn't change. When we turned onto Jefferson Street, I saw a police cruiser parked outside the laundromat. Mom was standing in the doorway, arms folded tight, her face pale. Evan slowed the car to a stop but didn't pull into the lot. He kept his hands on the wheel, knuckles white. "Go inside," he said. I grabbed my bag, slammed the door harder than I meant to. I was halfway to the building when I heard the Civic's engine rev. By the time I spun around, the taillights were already disappearing down the block. Mom grabbed me before I could yell after him. "They came with a warrant," she said into my hair. Her voice cracked. "He's turning himself in tonight."